Okay, so today's webinar, and the topic is the role of uncertainty in our life. So what happens when we are in such situations as of now? There is uncertainty all around us, and never more than today. The COVID situation, the pandemic has heightened uncertainty over economy, employment, finances, relationships, and of course, physical as well as mental health. Yet, as human beings, we crave security. We want to feel safe and have a sense of control over our lives and well-being. Fear and uncertainty can leave you feeling stressed, anxious, and powerless over the direction of your life. It can drain you emotionally and trap you in a downward spiral of endless what ifs that keep crossing across your mind, the worst case scenarios that trouble you every single moment, perhaps. Our brain gives us fits when facing uncertainty because the brain is wired to react to it with fear. The brain likes safety and certainty. In a recent study, subjects were brain imaged as they were forced to make increasingly uncertain bets. The less information the subjects had to go on, the more irrational and erratic their decisions became. You might think the opposite would be true. The lesser the information we have, the more careful and rational we are in evaluating the validity of that information, but it's not true. As the uncertainty of the scenarios increased, these subjects' brains shifted control over to the limbic brain. So the rational brain stopped working and the emotional brain, which is fear-based, took over the function. The place where all the emotions, such as anxiety, fear, are generated, it is the limbic brain. And this brain worked great eons ago when caveman entered an unfamiliar area and didn't know who or what might be lurking behind these bushes. Overwhelming caution and fear ensured survival at that time. But that's not the case today. This mechanism, which hasn't evolved, that part of the brain which is still primitive, is a hindrance as we face uncertainty today. Our brains push us to overreact, just as it was essential for the caveman to overreact and to run to safety. It is as much unessential today to react to uncertainty in a similar way. So the limbic system responds to uncertainty in a knee-jerk fear reaction, and fear inhibits good decision-making power. People who are good at dealing with uncertainty are wary of this fear, and they spot it as soon as it begins to surface. In this way, they can contain it before it is out of control and it becomes overwhelming. So once they are aware of that fear, they label all the irrational thoughts that try to intensify it as irrational fears, not reality, and the fear subsides. Then they can focus more accurately and rationally on the information they have to go on. So throughout the process, they remind themselves that a primitive part of their brain is trying to take over and the logical part needs to be more in charge. In other words, they tell their limbic system to settle down and be quiet until a hungry tiger shows up. So we are all different in how much uncertainty we can tolerate in life. Some people seem to enjoy risks, and you'll see there are so many people who are risk takers. They're living consciously unpredictable lives, while others find the randomness of life deeply distressing. But all of us have a limit. If you feel overwhelmed by uncertainty and worry, it's important to know that you are not alone. Many of us are in the same boat at the same time. It's also important to realize that no matter how helpless and how hopeless you feel, there are steps that you can take to better deal with uncontrollable circumstances and elevate your anxiety and face the unknown with more confidence. So guys, once again, so far, if I'm understood, just put a thumbs up or something so that I know you guys are following and you're understanding. Or if you have any questions, please write it down on the chat so that I can come back to it. Just put a thumbs up or something so that I know you guys are following. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so I can continue further on. You know, like it really becomes a drag when I'm like talking and it feels like there is no interaction. So sometimes I will keep bothering you guys and asking you guys if you have any questions to come back to me so that I can help you to understand it. And that's my work, right? That will be a pleasure to help you guys with anything that's bothering you. So I will be bothering you guys with these questions. Please bear with me once again. So I was talking about that those people who can deal with uncertainty better is because they have certain coping skills which others don't. That is the only thing that makes them different. It's not that they are not facing the anxiety, they're still facing it as much as the others do, but it is that those coping skills that gives them an edge over the others. So while we may not wish to acknowledge it, uncertainty is a natural and unavoidable part of our lives. Very little about our lives is constant or totally certain. And while we have control over many things, we can't control everything that happens to us. As the coronavirus outbreak has shown, life can change very quickly and very unpredictably. You may have suddenly become sick, lost your job, or found yourself struggling to put food on the table, or maybe just the feeling of safety, that you don't feel safe anymore. You may be anxious about the pandemic, when it is going to end and when life is going to return to normal. So how to cope with all this uncertainty? Many of us use worrying as a tool for trying to predict the future and avoid nasty surprises. Worrying can make it seem like you have some control over certain circumstances. You may believe that it will help you find a solution to your problem or prepare you for the worst. Maybe if you just agonize over a problem too long, just think through very carefully every possibility or read enough opinion online, you will find a solution and be able to control the outcome. That is why we do that worrying. That is why we keep on searching the internet for answers. Unfortunately, none of these works. Chronic worrying can get you more control over uncontrollable events. It just robs you of enjoying the present moment. And look around the present right now. If you're with me in this webinar now, everything is right. Like you are in your proper mental, emotional, physical state. You have a computer and electricity and Wi-Fi or whatever to get you connected. So you have so much of advantage in life good fortune in life, but you're not looking at it right now, perhaps because what you're worrying is something that has not happened yet. So, chronic worries can't give you more control over uncontrollable events. It just robs you of the enjoyment in the present. It saps your energy and keeps you up all night. And there are healthier ways to cope with your uncertainty. And that begins with adjusting your mindset. So the following tips can help you. Number one, focus on controlling those things which are under control. So can you, if you have the pen and paper which I asked you, write this down. Focus on controlling those things that are under control is number one, and write down those things in your life which are right now under control. Perhaps your health, perhaps your income, perhaps your relationship, whatever it is that is under control, or whatever are those which are under control. Make a list of that under this heading. Once you're done with that, the next is challenge your need for uncertainty. That is the next tip. Sorry, I'll come again. Challenge your need for certainty. So why do you need everything to be certain? What is the need? Challenge that need. Number three, learn to better tolerate, even embrace, the inevitable uncertainty of life. What is the inevitable uncertainty right now? Is the pandemic situation, where we have to live with the new normal of social distancing. We have to wear masks, we have to wear gloves, we can't travel abroad, or whatever it is that is being restricted in our life for our well-being. Can we learn to tolerate that better and embrace that? Just allowing ourselves to believe that this is for our own well-being and the well-being of our fellow human beings on the planet. And the last thing that is to reduce your anxiety and stress level. And how can you reduce it? By engaging in actions that helps you to de-stress, like sports, for example. If you like to play tennis or golf, or if you just like to go running around your community, or maybe watching TV if that's what distresses you, or playing games online. So any activity, or reading books, listening to music, I don't know what it is for you, but there is obviously something that you know works for you. So I'm going to elaborate now, taking action over the things that you can control. The first point, which I had mentioned. Much about life is uncertain at the moment. Many things remain outside of our control. But while we can't control the spread of the virus, the recovery of the economy, or whether you will have a paycheck next week, you're not totally powerless. Whatever your fears or personal circumstances, instead of worrying about the uncontrollable part of it, try to refocus your mind on taking action over the aspects that are within your control. So worst situation, if someone has lost their job or income during this difficult time, you can still have control over how much energy you can put into searching the job, online for work, sending out resumes, or networking with your contacts. Similarly, if you're worried about your health amid the pandemic, you can take action by regularly exercising, eating healthy foods, avoiding crowded places. What is in your control that you can do? Focus on that. By focusing on the aspects of a problem that you can control in this way, you will switch from ineffective worrying and ruminating into active problem solving. Of course, all circumstances are different, and you may find that in some situations, all you can control is your attitude and emotional response. Actively dealing with your emotions. When circumstances are out of your control, it's easy to become overwhelmed by fear and negative emotions. You may think that bottling up how you feel, trying to put on a brave face, or forcing yourself to be positive will provide the best outcome. But denying or suppressing your emotions will only increase stress and anxiety and make you more vulnerable to depression or burnt out. So when you do nothing else about a situation, you can still actively face up to your emotions, even the most negative and the fearful ones, allowing yourself to experience uncertainty in the way can help you reduce stress, come out better, to deal with the circumstances, and find a sense of peace as you deal with those challenges. So from my work experience, from my professional experience, there has been a lot of uncertainty I'm seeing in people now. There are a lot of clients who are coming with those issues which were there in their life for past, as long as they know, but it has just become overwhelming, too overwhelming right now. So do you think it is because that our life has slowed down right now, that we have more time to focus on those issues that were always there, and we could ignore those previously because we didn't have as much time and life was faster, we had so many other things to do, our social life was much more active, so we just could escape those parts of us which needed to be faced. And this time, this uncertainty, adversity is kind of pushing us all to face ourselves, those parts of us that are just waiting to be embraced and accepted. Don't you think that is what's happening right now? Just think about it. The issues that you're going through right now, were the same issues that were there even before, but why is it so overwhelming now? Why is it so unbearable now? Isn't it for the same reason that I told you? If you have any other reasons, please do share with me. Yeah, so someone has written that I realized that I have fallen into a trap of revalidation by others. How do I get out of this trap? So do you know what is revalidation from others? What does that mean? That means you need to be acknowledged for whatever you are doing, either for yourself or for others. So why do you need acknowledgement from others? Because you don't have the self-confidence that you are doing things right, you are doing things proper. You need others to tell you that, yes, you are right, yes, you are doing proper. So the confidence is lacking here. And how to get out of that trap is to learn to build up that confidence, that self-worth, self-esteem, knowing that what I'm doing my best. And at every moment of my life, whatever I do, I am doing my best. Can all of you just use this affirmation? Because I use it on myself and it really helps me when I'm going down. It helps me to come up and feel my worth again. I just keep telling myself that, yes, no matter what the outcome is, I did my best. And that is all which matters. That is all which matters. That I did my best. I'm doing my best. And I always do my best. Does that help? Can I have a thumbs up or something? Just say that to yourself and see if it helps. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm telling you, this is a really powerful affirmation, which I use on myself all the time. And whenever I'm going low, it really helps. And anyone else, if you have any questions, please go ahead. You can post it on the chat or you can just unmute yourself and talk to me. I'm here for you. Okay, since you don't have any more questions, when you feel you are going down, what coping skills do you recommend? Okay, so as I said, that self-affirmation is really helpful because you're looking for validation from others. And what is uncertain here is the outcome, or maybe the outcome isn't what you had anticipated in the beginning. So whatever the outcome, you know what matters in the end is that you did your best. So what do we tell our children, for example, when they go for a school exam? Do your best, and nothing else matters. So that's what we're going to tell ourselves. That affirmation is very important. Coping skills when you're going down, first is self-talk. Always self-talk helps. At least that is what I recommend to my clients because I use it on myself so much and it helps me a lot. Self-talk brings you back to the present moment. Because you are now, when you are going down, that means you're ruminating. You are in the past. It just immediately brings you back to the present. And I will be even talking more about other coping skills. Hope that helps in the end. If it doesn't, I will talk to you personally. Cool? Okay, so let me continue. So while I was talking about the challenges that we face. The second tip that I had given you, if you remember, it was to challenge your need for certainty. So why uncertainty and change are inescapable part of our life, we often adopt behaviors to try to cope with discomfort they can bring. In addition to worrying through every possible scenario, you may excessively seek reassurance from others. You repeatedly ask your friends or loved ones if you're making the right decision endlessly. You research information online. That is also a form of reassurance. Or seek out expert advice in an effort to Remove uncertainty from your life. You micromanage people. You refuse to delegate tasks. You want to keep everything in your control. You don't want to trust anyone with anything that you do, either at work or at home. You may even try to force people around you to change to make their behavior more predictable for you. I'm sure many of you have already done this, or you may even procrastinate by not making the decision you're hoping to avoid the uncertainty that's inevitably going to follow. You will find ways to delay or postpone acting, or even avoid certain situations and give yourself excuses which will be sounding so reasonable to you in an attempt to prevent the bad things from happening. So repeatedly check things. You call or text your family, friends, or kids again and again to make sure that they are safe. You check and recheck emails, text, or forms before sending. Double check lists to ensure that you haven't missed anything that could have repercussions on the predictability of the future. These are all the behaviors that you do to control uncertainty. So what I'm telling is to understand what is your need to have certainty in your life. And now how to change these behaviors, how to challenge these behaviors. Because these behaviors, if you notice in yourself, these are going to be damaging. Because this won't help you to come out of the uncertainty. This will pull you into the uncertainty even more. So how to challenge these behaviors? You can challenge the behaviors that you have adopted to elevate the discomfort of uncertainty by asking yourself the following questions. So again, if you have a pen and paper, note down these questions and write your own answers. What are the advantages of certainty? And what are the disadvantages of certainty? And write down your answers. So what are the advantages of certainty? What are the disadvantages of certainty? Life can change in a moment. We have just seen that. It is filled with unexpected events and surprises. But that's not always a bad thing. For every unpleasant surprise, such as a traffic accident or a serious medical diagnosis, there are good things that happen out of the blue as well, like a dream job offer, a surprise pay rise, or an unexpected phone call from an old friend. Opportunity often arises from the unexpected, and having to face certain uncertainty in life can also help you learn to adapt, overcome challenges, and increase your resilience. It can help you to grow as a person. That's the funny part of life. We human beings, we stagnate in favorable circumstances. Whenever there is uncertainty or adversity, that is when we grow. It is through pain that we grow, unfortunately, as human beings. We are conditioned in a certain way. I think how our ancestors were from the times that we were cavemen until we evolved into Homo sapiens and our society formed and the culture formed. Somehow we associate the feeling of pain with growth. The feeling of pleasure is always associated with stagnation. All religions all around the world teach you how to abstain from pleasures in order to in order to arrive to a spiritual enlightenment. So somehow we have this unconscious conditioning that pain is associated with something nice, and something nice is going to happen to us after that. So what is your need? The next question you're going to ask yourself is, how much can you be absolutely certain in your life? How much of it? Think about your life until now, and how much of it were you certain about? Were you certain that you're going to make a deal? Were you certain that you're going to lose a job? Were you certain that you're going to lose an offer? Were you certain that you're going to be happily married with children and have beautiful kids in your life? How much of that you were certain about that happened to you until now? If you're so running for certainty, how much of what happened to you, you were absolutely certain from the beginning? 10%? 15%? 20%? Can anyone say that you were 100% certain about life, where you are today, when you began life? I don't think anyone can. Does anyone have a job for life? No. Does anyone have a guarantee of good health for life? Absolutely certain that I'm going to be healthy forever? Is there any certainty over what tomorrow will bring? Behaviors such as worrying, micromanaging, and procrastinating over the illusion of having some control over a situation. But what does that really change for us? What do they change in reality? The truth is, no matter how much you try to plan and prepare for every possible outcome, life will find a way to surprise you, either in a good way or in a bad way. Sometimes surprise will be embraced because it will be pleasant. Sometimes the surprise would be unpleasant. All striving for certainty really does what it really does, it just fuels your worry and your anxiety. The next question that you're going to ask yourself, do you assume bad things will happen just because an outcome is uncertain? Do you just assume it, predict? Since I don't know, I cannot predict, something bad is the first thing that comes to your mind. And what is the likelihood that they will, like something bad is definitely going to happen? Is there a guaranteed result that, okay, the situation is uncertain, someone who has lost a job or without pay or indefinitely out of pay or whatever your situation is today. Yeah, someone said that I'm on unpaid leave and not sure what will happen next, as we might not be returning to work based on business situation in the coming months. Trying to be positive, but I'm still worried and afraid. Is there a way to convince myself truly that what's a better thing that so that I will be okay and things will get better? Yeah, so just try and understand what I'm saying here. I'm trying to say that in no circumstances, whatever has happened now to you is what, is there any possibility that this is what's going to, where you're going to be remaining for the rest of your life or after? As much as this situation was not predicted, why don't we allow ourselves to predict a good outcome even when things are uncertain? Why don't we allow ourselves to believe, okay, tomorrow a good opportunity is going to land on my lap and I'm going to have the dream job of my life? Why don't I tell that to myself? Why will I only tell myself, okay, now that you're on unpaid indefinite leave, you'll never get a job again and you will be like a failure in life and your family is going to suffer and your life is doomed? Why do we tell that to us? Did you ever think Did this ever come to your mind why we don't tell us about the positive outcome? In an uncertain moment, the positive outcome is 50% certain, and the negative outcome is also 50% certain. But in our mind, we make it negative 100%. Why do we do that? When you're faced with uncertainty, it's easy to overestimate the likelihood of something bad happening and underestimating your ability to cope if it does. But given the likelihood of something bad happening is low, even at this time, even at this precarious time, is it possible to live with that small chance and focus instead on the more likely outcomes? Ask your friends and family how they cope with uncertainty in specific circumstances. Could you do the same? Could you do the same as your friends and family does? By challenging your need for certainty, you can begin to let go of negative behaviors, reduce stress and worry, and free up time and energy for more practical purposes. Perhaps if you're worried about your health, it's time that you start exercising. It's time that you take care of your body and your diet and things that's going to build up your immunity and make you stronger. If you're worried about your work, that you're in indefinite leave, then it's time that you invest that energy in searching online and getting something, even for the time being, something which is not certain, something which doesn't give you a long-term future, maybe just for this moment. Or maybe all of that together will make you feel more certain about yourself, that you are doing the best that you can at this moment, given the circumstances, given the conditions, given the limitations. You are doing your best. Isn't that all which matters? So the next thing that we have to learn is learn to accept uncertainty, because it's a part and parcel of our life. There is no moment in our life when we are 100% certain. No matter how much you strive to eliminate doubt, volatility from your life, the truth is you already accept a lot of uncertainty every single day. Each time you cross a street, get behind the wheel of your car, or take out a restaurant food, you're accepting a level of uncertainty. You're trusting the traffic will stop, you won't have an accident, and everything that you're eating is safe. The chances of something bad happening in these circumstances is small. So you accept the risk and move on without requiring certainty. If you're religious, you also likely accept some doubts and uncertainty as part of your faith. When irrational fears and worries take hold, it can be hard to think logically and accurately, weigh up the probability of something bad happening. To help you overcome and become more tolerant and accepting of uncertainty, the following steps might help again. So identify your uncertainty trigger. All of you who's with me today, right now, just identify what is your trigger. A lot of uncertainty tends to be self-generated through excessive worry of a pessimistic outlook, for example. However, some uncertainty can be generated by external sources, especially at times like this. Reading media stories that focus on worst-case scenarios, spending time on social media, avoiding rumors, spending time on social media and just amid all the rumors and half-truths, or simply communicating with anxious friends can all fuel your fears and uncertainties. That's the reason why so many people are panicked. And in panic, they're buying toilet papers, masks, gloves, and they're hoarding them. They see others doing it, and it feeds their own fears. By recognizing your triggers, you can take action to avoid or reduce your exposure to them. Recognize when you feel the need for certainty. Notice when you start to feel anxious and fearful about a situation. Begin to worry about what ifs or feel like a situation is far worse than it is actually. Look for the physical cues that you are feeling anxious. You might notice the tension in your neck or shoulders, shortness in your breath, the onset of a headache, or an empty feeling in your stomach. Take a moment to pause and recognize that you're craving reassurance and a guarantee. Allow yourself to feel the uncertainty instead of engaging in futile efforts to gain control over the uncontrollable in order to run to safety and certainty, which is right now not possible. Let yourself experience the discomfort of uncertainty. Like all emotions, if you allow yourself to feel fear and uncertainty, they will eventually pass away. Remember, another affirmation which really works for me, just use it and let me know if it works for you. I tell myself that this is just an emotion. It is not real. It is not happening right now. It is something that I'm feeling, and the feeling will pass, just like every other feeling. Sadness, happiness, anger. A feeling. It is not my reality. And that feeling is not me. That angry person is not me. I'm just feeling it. I'm just experiencing how it feels to be angry. If I'm sad, I'm just experiencing how it feels to be sad. I'm not that sad person. Even when I'm happy, I'm just experiencing how it feels to be happy. I'm not a constantly happy person. So like all emotions, it will eventually pass. Focus on the present moment, your breathing, and allow yourself to simply feel and observe the uncertainty that you're experiencing in your body, in your breath, in your emotions. Take some slow, deep breaths and try a meditation perhaps to keep you anchored in the present so that you can touch your body. You touch your body. You can feel yourself. You can breathe into your hands and bring yourself back to the present, that right now, you are okay. And let go now. Respond to the what ifs running through your head by acknowledging that you are not a fortune teller. You can't predict your future. You don't know what will happen really. All you can do is let it go, accept the uncertainty as part of your life, and do your best at the moment. Shift your attention, focus on solvable worries, taking action on those aspects of the problem that you can control. Or simply go back to what you were doing. When your mind wanders back to worrying or feelings of uncertainty, and it returns back, then refocus your mind on the present moment and back to your breathing. Accepting uncertainty does not mean not having a plan. Accepting uncertainty doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a plan for life or for life's unforeseen circumstances. It's always good to have some savings put by in case of unexpected expenses. Keep a preparedness kit handy if you live in an area at risk for earthquakes or hurricanes, or have a plan if you or a loved one falls ill. But you can't prepare for every possible scenario. Life is simply too random and too unpredictable. So focus on the present. Uncertainty is often centered on worrying about the future, all the bad things that you can anticipate happening. It can leave you feeling hopeless, depressed about the days ahead, exaggerate the scope of the problems that you face, and even paralyze you from taking actions to overcome a problem. One of the surest ways to avoid worrying about the future is to focus on the present. Instead of trying to predict what will happen tomorrow or the next moment, switch your attention to what's happening right now. By being fully connected to the present, you can interrupt the negative assumptions, catastrophic predictions running through your mind. You can learn to purposely focus your attention on the present through mindfulness. And mindfulness is a very good technique. It is a training process. It trains the mind to stay in the moment so that you can enjoy what is happening right now in your life. With regular practices, mindfulness can help change your preoccupation with the future worries to a stronger appreciation of the present moment, as well as help calm your mind, ease stress, boost your overall mood. You can start a mindfulness practice by following audio meditations that's available online. Incorporate it into your exercise program, such as walking. Using mindfulness to stay focused on the present can take perseverance. It's not easy to follow a routine. As I said, it is a training program. So it needs discipline. It needs perseverance. It needs continuity. Initially, you may find that your focus keeps wandering back to your future fears and worries, but keep on with it. Keep at it. Each time you focus your attention back on the present, you are strengthening a new mental habit that can help you break free from uncertainty. Managing stress and anxiety. Taking steps to reduce your overall stress and anxiety levels can help you interrupt the downward spiral of negative thoughts, finding inner calm, better cope with uncertainty in your life. So what you have to do, you have to get moving. Exercise is a natural and effective stress reliever. It is said that on research, they have found out that 30 minutes of intense cardio releases serotonin in our blood as much as 10 milligrams of antidepressant. So exercise is a natural and effective stress reliever and anti-anxiety treatment. Try adding a mindfulness element and focusing on your body as you move. Pay attention to the sensation of your feet hitting the ground as you walk, run, dance, or the rhythm of your breathing, the feeling of the sun, the wind on your skin. Just being present and connecting all your senses, connecting with them. We are constantly using all our senses, but we are not connecting with them. Our eyes are seeing things, so many millions and millions of bytes of information is coming in to our system through our eyes, our ears, so many bytes of frequencies of audio is entering into our ears. It is registering all in our brain. Our skin is constantly feeling sensations, either from touching surfaces that we are touching with our hands and our body, or feeling the sun, feeling the heat, feeling the cold, feeling the wind. But we do not connect with these feelings. This is being mindful. When people talk about being mindful, is connecting to your senses, connecting to the moment, connecting with everything that you're seeing now. So right now, if I would tell you, name 5 things that you're seeing right now with your eyes. You will be mindful. You will be noticing what are the 5 things that you're seeing. But naturally, you wouldn't. Unconsciously, you wouldn't. So the mindfulness training helps you to stay in touch with your senses, brings you back to the present, and helps you to disconnect from the worry. Making time for relaxation. Choose a relaxation technique such as meditation, yoga, deep breathing exercise, trying to set aside time each day for regular practice. Get plenty of sleep. Excessive worry and uncertainty can disturb your sleep, just as a lack of quality sleep can fuel anxiety and stress. It's like a loop. You worry, you can't sleep, you can't sleep, you worry. So improving your daytime habits and taking time to relax and unwind before going to bed can help you to sleep better at night. Eat a healthy diet. Avoid eating things that you feel or you believe as a bad food. Avoid those because you consider them bad. Eating healthy meals, what you consider as healthy, can help you maintain your energy levels and prevent mood swings. Avoiding sugary processed food when you are very anxious would help you. Eating food high in omega-3 fats like salmon, walnuts, soybean, flax seeds can help you to boost your overall mood. And last thing, ask for help. Don't hesitate. I'm not saying this because I'm a therapist and I need clients. I'm saying this because if you don't ask for help, no one will know that you require help. And the best help that you can get, you will just not get it available to you because you never asked for it. And time will pass. Things which are still under control will become out of control. And then it will take even longer for you to overcome what you're going through. And even more intense to come back to normal life again. So please do not hesitate to ask for help, whether from a friend, whether from a professional, but ask for help. And follow the healthy tips that I have given you today. If at all you feel these are useful for you, do follow them and see and let me know if at all they have been helpful. You can write back to Illuminations. You can get in touch with me personally. And one more thing I can remind you, just as a reminder, all of you who are watching this program, who are connected on the Zoom, all of you can sign up for a free 30 minutes consultation with me. Any day, according to your convenience, just call up Illuminations. It is going to be an assessment only, assessment of what you're going through, the psychological assessment I'm going to give you. And it's going to be completely your choice thereafter if you want to continue with therapy or not. So I would, before I say goodbye to all of you, if there is any more questions or anything that you would like to say to me. If not, then I would wish all of you a good night and hope to see you all again. Cool? Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you all. Best wishes for everything. Bye, guys.